The American Association of University Women Educational Foundation and the Dayton Historical Depot Society present Living in Dayton, a local production by Dayton residents that documents the lives of women from early Columbia County families that shaped the community of Dayton, Washington. Following this interview is information on how you can purchase copies of this series, Living in Dayton.
When I was through high school, I had seen the University of Idaho in action all my years, and I wasn't very interested in a college in my own hometown. So my folks let me go to Cheney, where I could get out and make money fast, teaching school. Well, I thought I could anyway. So I came, a superintendent came to our school in Cheney and interviewed me. And he hired me just like that, as quick as a snap. I never knew why, but he was a wonderful superintendent, Mr. L.L. Nolan. I remember him so well, although I haven't kept an account of where he lives. Anyway, I came here to teach school and roomed with another teacher. Her name was Ethel Sieber. And the people where we lived asked if we could go to the county fair dance and not turn anybody down, because it was a county affair and everybody knew everybody and they weren't supposed to turn anybody down. So we went to the dance, the county fair dance at the fairgrounds, promising that we wouldn't turn anybody down. Well, the first fellow that came over and asked me to dance was, I shall not mention his name because I think he's dead and gone now, but he was a runoff. He talked constantly and said nothing. Anyway, that passed and we went on dancing with other people that asked us to dance. Pretty soon I saw him coming again and I said to Ethel, I hope he's yours. I've had him. He came up to me and he said, I have a gentleman that would like to meet you. And lo and behold, he introduced me to Bert. Bert was a college graduate and had graduated in law and had come here for spring vacation with his folks. And his dad talked him out of going into law. He said, you'll have more headaches than you can possibly ever have in this business. And he gave him such a priceless interest in the business that he decided to take him up on it. He didn't know he was getting me with it too, but I met him this first night and he asked us if he could take me home. And I said, certainly not. No one ever takes me home that doesn't take me there. I've been taught that all my life. And so he said, could I come over and see you tomorrow afternoon? And I said, yes, you certainly can. So here he came down the street, eating candy out of both pockets and enjoying himself. He came in, barely spoke to me. He sat down and played the piano for about half an hour or so. That's the way we got acquainted. But he was the most enjoyable man any woman ever met. He had lots to talk about. He could talk about many things that I wasn't really interested in, but we, I think, played a game of cards of some kind, two-handed cards. And he went home early and asked for a date the following weekend, which we had. And it turned out that Jimmy Edwards and Byron Robinson and Bert got together. and took us out to dinner. And that was our introduction to Dayton. We really had a good dinner and a lot of laughs because they were all funny, had funny sides to them. And what I mean is entertaining and well-versed. And we started in from that very weekend going to all the dances in the country. I want to tell you, we just went every place. And one night we decided to go to Pomeroy. And at that dance, Mr. Dodge, you know Dodge Station over there, of course, Mr. Dodge invited the whole dance out to cook breakfast at the ranch. And that's down from Dodge Station. And he owned thousands of acres. He was very well to do, and I thought it was kind of funny that he'd invite a whole dance, but he knew nearly everybody there, and he was delighted to have the rest of us. And we went out to his house, and we cooked breakfast. We cooked ham and eggs. Somebody made biscuits, I don't remember who, but we had a jolly good time, and it was before the time of drinks. Nobody had a drink. We just had fun. And we played games out on the lawn. Some of us played cards inside, but most of us didn't know much about it. It was really quite a young, gay crowd. And we had such fun together. And we got back to Dayton at 6 o'clock in the morning. And my roommate said to me, Cletys, we're going to have to sneak in mighty careful out here. And I said, we're not going to sneak in at all. We're going to walk right into their bedroom, and we're going to tell them where we've been, what we've done, and all about ourselves, which they dearly loved.
I don't believe you told us how you came to Dayton. Did you?
Oh, well, I came in on the train and landed at this depot. And do you know, when I walked in there, there was a little old man sitting there spitting tobacco juice in a spittoon. And I thought, boy, I'd like to see the color of the man's eyes. It could stop me off in a dump like this. Just exactly what I thought.
What year did you come to Dayton?
In 1923.
And when did you start working at the store?
Not till my children were through college. I had no interest in the store, although I had worked since I was in the 6th grade. I started working in a mercantile store in Moscow, Idaho, when I was in the 6th grade, and it was mostly just cleaning and waiting on kids that came into the store. And this man that owned this mercantile store was the sharpest kind of a man. He had a little mustache and he was very sharp. And you knew exactly what you could do and what you couldn't do. He didn't leave words unmentioned. He wanted you to do a certain thing a certain way, you did it that way. And I was trained, really trained, by a real man with mercantile in his mind.
So you stayed home and raised your family, but you didn't sit idly by all those years. You were involved in many other activities, weren't you?
I really was, because I was gullible and easy to get. And I seemed like if they asked me to do a job, I thought I could.
You worked in your church?
Oh yes, the Methodist Church. I've always worked in that. An evangelist came to our church in Moscow when I was 12 years old. And she knew more about the Bible than anybody I've ever seen or heard of. And she thought I was a whiz because I knew so much myself. And my parents were the kind of parents that we knelt down and said our prayers at night. We had a prayer session before we went to bed every night. And and they were very religious. They weren't fanatics, but they were very religious, and that's where we went every Sunday.
Did you work with the Legion Auxiliary at one time?
Oh yes, I did, but that was after I was grown and an adult and knew what I was doing. I didn't plunge into it, but I did, and then I held many state offices and did many things.
Because Bert was a veteran.
Yes.
Did the girls' state come out of that work with the Legion Auxiliary?
They didn't do as much as I did, but both of them went to girls' state.
No, I didn't state my question very well. I wondered how Girls State, the organization, came about.
Well, I was the founder of it. And don't ask me what year, I can't even remember. And I don't clutter my brain up with a lot of dates.
The Big Depression, while you were raising your family, did that depression have an impact on your family?
It certainly did, because we had to need what we bought. Mr. Dingle was a wonderful financier, and he said we don't buy things we don't need, because this is a depression, and we're going to live with it because it's here. I didn't care what it looked like. Actually, I just wanted to live here and raise my family, because I thought it was the most wonderful place I'd ever been, except Moscow, and I thought Moscow was it. But I just loved it here, every minute of it.
And you're still a booster, aren't you? You're
Pardon?
still a Dayton booster.
Oh, you bet I am. I love it, and I think it has more good people percentage than any place I could ever live. I just love it.
Well, in terms of booster, weren't you the president of the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, I was the first lady president.
First lady
I
president.
didn't know that.
Yeah, well,
I love that too. And I never cared a bit about showing off. It was just a matter of doing something that was worthwhile, and I thought it was worthwhile.
What were some of the ways the economy of the community affected what people bought?
Well, people buy what they need. Then there are those that buy because they think they deserve a little luxury. And then there is always the buying for children. I don't mean little fellas, I mean for their own children. Parents in this community, I think, are willing to sacrifice almost anything to give their children what they want. I think it's a wonderful community. I'm glad I came here to live, because I think I meet more personal, lovely people every day than anybody, really. I'm so proud of Dayton, and they're so friendly. And somebody was in the other day, some man, and he said to me, "Are you keeping out of mischief?" And I said, "What's that?"
Dingles of Dayton is well known throughout the area.
I know it is, because I have people come in and tell me that. One man and his wife were in the store the other day, and she said, "I've just heard about this store. As long as I'm going to look at it."
Do you think your radio program had something to do with getting the word out about Dingles of Dayton?
Well, at the time I thought so, because I had so many people come in and say, "I listened to you on the radio." And then they decided that they couldn't afford to come up here and get my program, and I had to go down there and give it. But I said, no, I'm all through with it then. I'm not going to travel to Walla Walla to give my goods away.
How long did that program run?
I don't remember. I actually don't remember.
I think you told me about 14 years.
It lasted quite a long while, I know, because I had people come in and just look at me in amazement, I think. think that I'd be on a radio program.
Your attitude is always upbeat. Are there any other things you'd like to talk about that happened to you through the years?
No, I was always taught not to talk about my neighbors. And I have the most wonderful neighbors that anybody can possibly have. And I really can't think of anything except that I think that there couldn't be a better place to raise children than right here. If it's decreased since I raised mine, I don't know it. But I do think.
Since you're still working, you must have found your career in the store satisfying and rewarding.
Very, because I like people. I really like people.